Hello, everyone, and welcome to 100's Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your producer, Logan Landers, and today we have a very special NFL draft prospect. Talk about Nik Bonitto, the linebacker out of Oklahoma, Boomer Sooner. But before we get started, guys, if you enjoy this video, we have something special for you today. If you enjoy the podcast, also because the Believe Podcast Network is partnering with Bet Online for the Super Bowl. The big game is finally here as we hit Super Sunday with the last game of the football season. And as always, BetOnline has you covered from odds, scores, totals, player performance props to where the next fired coach is going to land. BetOnline is the number one spot for all things NFL betting in 2022. And it's not just football. BetOnline's basketball, hockey, boxing, and UFC odds coverage is the best in the business. From sports right down to your favorite Vegas casino games, BetOnline is your number one online wagering destination. Head to the BetOnline today or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to get you started. The fastest and easiest way to wager on all of your favorite sports and play your favorite games. BetOnline, where the game starts. Mr. Turner, let's get things going with Nik Bonitto.
Welcome to 100 Yards of Football this morning. Nikki B, University of Oklahoma. I'm your host, Vincent Turner. Before I get started, as we break down this great prospect out of University of Oklahoma, I'm going to bring my guest up. He comes out of Key West, Florida. I consider him the best in the business right now covering the 2022 NFL Draft. He's the hardest working guy in the business. When I say he works, he watches over a numerous amount of hours of film. And he writes at least, let me get this correct, I know he writes at least 10 articles a day. But the thing I love about him, not only his work ethic, but he's a man of character. All you got to do is please go get his book on Amazon, whatever it takes to be a GM in the National Football League. And I tell you what, once you read his book and read his story, you'll be amazed at some of the obstacles that he's had to face. But I'm very grateful, very honored, and very proud for him to have him on this morning as we're going to cover Nikki B, the University of Oklahoma linebacker in the 2022 NFL Draft. Coming out of Key West, Florida, my man Daniel Kelly. How you doing this morning, sir?
Hey, I'm doing well, Mr. Turner. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing fantastic, man. Doing great. Ready to talk about these prospects. Hey, man, ready to break down this outstanding football player out of South Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, St. Thomas Aquinas High School.
Absolutely. One of the biggest and best surprises to me in the 2022 NFL Draft. Stumbled into him last week, and wow, did I like what I saw. Let me start by unpacking the game film, so I'm held accountable to, that I took a look at when it comes to Nik Bonitto, linebacker, edge rusher, Oklahoma. I looked at him against Nebraska, Oklahoma State, Texas, Baylor, and TCU. And let me start by saying this. Turn up your devices. Turn them up, because let me start by saying this. He reminds me of Dallas edge rusher Micah Parsons, only with a higher motor and a more consistent motor. I've given Nik Bonitto the highest grade in America of any draft analyst out there. Listen, guys, the film does not lie. He does now. Now, let me say this. He doesn't have the same top shove speed as Micah Parsons, but he's fast enough to get into the quarterback's face. Bonitto has 15 and a half sacks over the last 2 seasons. And get this, 88 quarterback pressures. This guy is a difference maker. He's a first-round talent. He's a polished pass rusher who can bend the edge hard from either side, the left or right side. Acceleration into the pocket. He can accelerate into the pocket as well with that coveted burst. And like I said, he can bend the edge hard. He can also slip into a gap on the inside from against the offensive tackles. And according to PFF, Pro Football Focus, he had the highest pass rush grade over the past 2 seasons, 93.6 and 92.5. Just to put this into perspective, guys, Aiden Hutchinson had a pass rushing grade by PFF of 93.3. So he's right in that neighborhood according to their grading system. Bottom line, Benito's a playmaker. He excites me. I mean, I get excited watching this guy in film, and not many guys excite me when I watch film of them. Most guys are just guys, or Jags is my old, the guy that Bill Parcells, the guy that hired me with the Jets. I used to call him Jags, just another guy. That's most guys, but not Nik Bonitto. He can get pressure on the quarterback. Outside of pressure on the quarterback during his career at Oklahoma, 33 tackles for a loss, 7 passes defended, an interception, forced fumble, 2 fumble recoveries. So, I mean, this guy is all over the field. And again, he's kind of in that mold of a guy you bring in that Micah Parsons mold of a freelancer where you kind of line him up in different places along the defense and let him do his thing. Let me break down Nik Bonitto, edge rusher, Oklahoma. Long arms. Take a look at the picture, guys. I mean, look at those arms right there. That's key. Long arms, disruptive and threatening pass rusher, polished. He can come on delayed blitz. I see him sometimes where he'll spy the quarterback a little bit, and he'll just kind of sit in the pocket around that second level, around the linebacker, and then he'll just spring into the pocket and disrupt the quarterback and pressure him or sack him. He has that acceleration and that covet again, that burst into the pocket, which is huge, which is what the great ones have. He leans into the snap very well pre-snap. You'll see him come, really well. He'll come right up to the line of scrimmage, and he'll lean his whole body into the line of scrimmage, and he anticipates the snap exceptionally well. To the point where even the television announcers thought he was offsides. He was like he knew the exact snap count and jumped. And when you have that kind of anticipation and you have that explosive first step into the pocket, it's tough for offensive tackles, 350-pound guys that kick that left foot out and get out there fast enough to be able to gain any kind of leverage in those type of pass protection situations. So that's critically important to grab a hold of, is that explosive first step, and that anticipation of the snap count is really, really good. He uses his hands well. Can't tell you how important that is. He uses his hands well. He's got active hands. He's able to kind of use his hands really well, quickly, and he maintains a nice low, kind of lower to the ground pad level when he's coming around the edge and he's kind of dipping down in that backdoor area of the pocket. He's able to kind of get underneath the offensive tackle's pad level, and he's able to use the momentum, the hands, and the momentum he has to bend the back edge hard. As you can tell, this is exciting stuff. This is the type of stuff that you don't see from a lot of guys who are coming in. Everybody wants an edge rusher. Pay attention to this guy. Pay attention to that low pad level coming in from the outside of the back door of the pocket. He showed a spin move. He's somebody that I call a quarterback-minded defensive lineman, and not a lot of them are. But this guy actually wants to get to the quarterback and get to him consistently, and he's always around the action when you watch the game film. I'm not talking about highlight tapes. I'm talking about the game film. This guy is around the action quite a bit. The negatives. The biggest negative is a lot like Micah Parsons. He's not a power guy at the point of attack. He's not a guy that's going to put an offensive lineman on skates. He's not a bull rusher. He gets stalemated. He can get hung up on the edge or hung up inside. He's not going to drive anyone back into the quarterback. But that's the biggest negative on Nik Bonitto. But another good thing about him is he's athletic enough to even drop in the coverage. This guy's all over the field. Number 11, he's all over the field. Versus a run, he can make some plays, some tackles for a loss. If he can slip into a gap, he can blow things up. He's a guy that gives a good effort to get to the ball carrier at all times. There's no shortage of effort with this guy. There's no knock on the effort whatsoever for me. Effort's huge. Is football important to this guy? Yes, it is. That was one of Parcells' biggest things, critical factors of scouting. Is football important? The answer is yes. Just the biggest problem against the run is, again, he lacks the brute power, that brute strength to be able to just, to get off blocks when he's strongly engaged at times. But when he's able to slip in there, when he's able to fight through the trash, as I called in scouting, when he's able to fight through and be able to get to the ball carrier, this guy is a solid technique wrapping tackler. tackler. Occasionally, probably the biggest negative about him on the run is a couple times I saw him going the wrong direction. He bit on a couple fakes, but nothing to be too overly concerned about. Listen, this is the bottom line is this. Let's not make this too hard, okay? He's a dynamic pass rusher. I rated him as my edge 2, my stand-up edge 2 in the 2022 NFL draft behind Kayvon Thibodeau. The name of the game is getting to the quarterback. Team rankings, most of the teams in the league now are throwing more than 50% of the time. This game is evolving more and more into an offensive fireworks display. 6 of the 8 head coaches just hired have offensive backgrounds. The game is just becoming more offensive with the rules too. The rules are geared more towards the offense. You got to be able to do this. You got to be able to get to the quarterback if you're an NFL team, and this guy can get it done. Right now, I have the Minnesota Vikings taking Nik Bonitto at number 12. Overall, their biggest need on CBS Sports as far as team needs heading into this next season is an edge rusher. And with the uncertainty surrounding Danielle Hunter, who's one of the greatest, if not the best pass rusher in the NFL when healthy, they need to get somebody in there that can get some heat on the quarterback. And let me tell you guys, Nik Bonitto can get heat on the quarterback, Mr. Turner.
Okay, before I get into my conversation commentary on Mr. Nicky B out of the University of Oklahoma, we got a sponsorship announcement by our producer, Mr. Logan Landers.
Yes, sir. And it seems like Nik Bonitto is giving Mr. Kelly a safe peace of mind, right? And what's more important than peace of mind? Nothing. And that's what NordVPN is here for, to give you peace of mind while you're online. And with all the threats you face today on the internet, it's more important than ever to be sure that you have the best VPN you can get. NordVPN is the world's best VPN service, offering the fastest connectivity, most servers, and next-gen encryption to make sure that everything you do online stays secure. Plus, you can use NordVPN on all of your computers and devices, no matter the operating system. With NordVPN's unlimited bandwidth, you never have to worry about a slow connection either. And plans start at under $4 per month. So, grab your exclusive NordVPN deal by going to nordvpn.com/believe or use the code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to get up to 70% off your NordVPN plan, plus 1 additional month for free. It's also risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Mr. Turner, your thoughts on Nicky B?
When I think about Nicky B, I think about this, University of Oklahoma. And I think about everybody knows that I'm from the 901, Memphis, Tennessee. And I think about when I was in high school, because my high school was shut down yesterday. Matter of fact, they took it to the ground. But I think about Nicky B because of his size, 6'3", 240. And I think about the guy that I saw play high school football at my high school that was real good, Mr. Jeff Walker. Then I think about another high school, Primus Bobo. Then I think about Winston Neely at Hamilton High School. And then I think about Keith Blake at Carver, along with Primus Bobo. Reason I say that, because as Mr. Kelly just said, all of them had good pass rushing skills. All of them was quickness, A+. All of them had great agility like Nicky B. All of them was fearless like Nicky B. And most of all of them was productive. And then think about the production and the school he's playing at. You're looking at Boomer Sooner. And look what he had to go through and what he had to live up to. Brian Bosworth, George Crumby, Daryl Hunt, Jackie Shipp, Thomas Benson, Dante Jones. All those guys got to the NFL and played at a high level. But the one great thing I like about Mr. Nicky B is that when the lights are on, he played real big. And I think when you look overall at him in his career at Oklahoma, you're right, Mr. Daniel Kelly. I think he's going to be another Michael Parsons when he comes into the league. And look at his number 11. And he went to a high school in St. Thomas Aquinas in Florida. All it's got is royalty. Fort Lauderdale. The high school he went to produced the Bozer brothers, Nick and Joey Bozer, who right now arguably the two best pass rushing ends in the National Football League. And my final words about Nicky B is this. The guy's got a little clone. He looks like that young man is going to be on the field in Super Bowl 56 where the LA Rams made an important transition in the middle of the season. And I'm not talking about Aaron Donald on that defensive line. I'm talking about Von Miller. This guy's a phenomenal football player coming out of a great school in Oklahoma and representing a great linebacker tradition. Mr. Daniel Kelly, your final words about Nicky B.
Absolutely, Mr. Turner. Some very good thoughts for sure. I mean, Nik Bonitto. I mean, just look at the screen, guys. This guy, as time goes on, the thing we always see as we move towards the NFL draft is that we see some guys are going to fall and some guys are going to rise. And I just think that this guy is going to be a fast riser. Get to know this name, because here's the deal. When you're an NFL team, I'm talking to NFL owners right now and NFL general managers. When you're an NFL, and I got my name on this right underneath my picture, okay? When you're in an NFL team and you're in that first round spot, you have to come away with a dynamic football player. You have to come up with a difference maker. And if you cannot get an explosive pass rusher, if you cannot get a lockdown, shutdown corner, the way the game is today, you have to go offense in the first round just to keep up with the offense. I mean, we saw in the playoffs, so just to keep up with these offensive teams out there and the offensive firepower and these young guns and quarterbacks that are out there. You need to have somebody in there that can get to the quarterback in time to make a difference, to be disruptive. And outside of Kayvon Thibodeau, Nik Bonitto, as a stand-up edge, okay, we got a couple guys that can put their hand down the dirt too, okay? Guys like Aiden Hutchinson, those guys that can put their hand down the dirt. But as a stand-up player, as a guy coming off the edge, it can be disruptive off the edge. You're looking at edge 2, stand-up edge 2, Nik Bonitto. This guy is a difference maker. He's a guy that I have slated again to go to the Minnesota Vikings at 12. Go get him, because I tell you what, we've seen this year the difference that Micah Parsons made with Dallas and what he was able to do for that organization. And if you can get to the quarterback, that's the name of the game. This is a guy. Don't overthink it. Send the card in. If you can't get Kayvon Thibodeau, Nik Bonitto's the guy, Mr. Turner.
When you look at Nicky B, you look at greatness and you look how the game is going now, you got to have pass rushers that come into the National Football League. And I'm really going to say this. He reminds me a lot of Von Miller that's going to be on the field this coming Sunday. And the young man was a fantastic defensive football player at the University of Oklahoma. And I'm going to end you with this in the video. When you see greatness in a football player and you look at his journey, he played at a very high-level high school, St. Thomas Aquinas in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. They had a lot of great football players, the Bozer brothers, and one Michael Irvin. I don't have to say no more about that. And another guy that came out of there, Mr. Marcus Gilbert, that played at the University of Florida. So the guy came to Oklahoma very, very sharp as a technician and came with a lot of good coaching. So what that tells me, that means that greatness is on the horizon for this football player. And like I said, I'm going to tell you one more time, I like the height. 6'3", 240. Reminds me a lot of George Webster that was at Michigan State in 1966. Or a guy that played at Georgia Tech that's about an hour from my house, and Pat Swilling that played with the New Orleans Saints. And along with his partner, who's another South Florida guy, Ricky Jackson. So Nicky B, man, I wish you a lot of success. And my final words, since you played in the great state of Oklahoma, there was a band by the name of the Gap Band, an R&B band, and they had this song, and the song had this one lyric: "I'ma drop the bomb on you, Boomer Sooner, Nicky B, the University of Oklahoma." Today's video has been brought to you by Bet Online, presented by Bleed Podcast Network. So please go to Bet Online. If you like the video, please come in and share it. I'd like to say special thanks to my man, Mr. Daniel Kelly, coming out of Key West, Florida. The best is doing it in the business right now. I'm Vincent Turner. 100 yards football. Have a phenomenal week. And please,
enjoy the Super Bowl.
And please follow this young man. He's writing a lot of great articles, and he's having a lot of great interviews. This week, he interviewed Mr. Roger McCreary, another potential first rounder from Auburn University, War Eagle. And he's got an article coming up, Pig Suet, on Mr. Traylon Burks. You know how much I feel about the University of Arkansas. caught them hogs, pig suey. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the week.
Thank you.